Pod Street is an official affiliate of Birdland Sports. Visit birdlandsports.com/upodstreet and 10% of your order will go directly to supporting the pod. Use code UPODSTREET at checkout and you'll get 10% taken off your order. Now sit back, relax, and keep that beer cold because it's on to UPod Street. All right, guys, welcome to UPod Street. As always, I'm your host, Jimmy Horn, and I am joined by Jack Bain. Jack, have you been outside today?
Been outside today.
It was beautiful.
Phenomenal.
How ready did it make you for baseball season?
Absolutely. I'm busting at the seams here.
Dude, we opened up the grill on our patio today. I am like in full blown, like it just needs to happen. We are 4 days away?
Yeah, 4 days.
4 days, and it can't come soon enough.
Yeah, man. I mean, you go outside and you smell the trees blooming.
Oh yeah.
Next thing you're smelling is a hot dog being cooked outside of Camden Yards.
With an ice cold beer in your hand.
There you go. Maybe not open carrying at Camden Yards, but
once you're in the stadium. Once you're in the stadium, you're
I was thinking about that shop like outside of Pickles where they got the hot dogs cooking.
There you go. Yeah. So. Yeah. See, I always come from the other way. That's the tough thing for me. Because I live over on Hanover, so I gotta go the opposite way. Yeah. There's nothing over there except for the Ravens Stadium.
No hot dogs being cooked over there yet.
No, lame.
Wearing the Vespi jersey in remembrance.
Rip in peace, man.
He's gonna start the year in triple, but we'll get to all that. First, wanted to hit everybody with some news and notes around the league. Just kind of giving a feel for what's going on out there.
There's a lot of good stuff happening in baseball right now as we enter the season, but there's a lot of stuff I look at that I feel like really bad for some other teams. And I mean, there's some rough stuff going on for the Orioles too, but there's a lot of times I get notes for other teams and I'm like, oh no.
Yeah, as far as like the Orioles injuries go, we've been pretty lucky. Obviously, Dylan Tate sucks, but he'll be back in May. James McCann's hurt. I mean, we have like a lot of little injuries, but there's some injuries, like season-ending stuff where it's just like, and it's like big guys, like names in the MLB who are going down, and it sucks.
And it's what I've noticed too. It's a lot of teams that spent a lot of money building up, like, all right, we're going to be really good this year. We're going to go get all these guys, and then all of a sudden they're getting injuries. Yeah. Which, I mean, I guess that was Mike Elias's plan all along for why he wasn't going to spend money. He didn't want to curse his team with 1 million injuries.
Yeah, maybe so. You never know. It's professional athletics. People get hurt.
Yeah. So what's our first round of news?
We got, talking about injuries, Rhys Hoskins tore his ACL. He's going to be out for the year. Really sucks, man. He's a great ball player. Couldn't have happened to a better guy. And City of Philly rides on him.
It's tough, you just go on a World Series run where you come up just short. This guy's one of the heart and souls of the team. You go out, you get big names like Trey Turner.
Yeah.
Get ready for hopefully a second year run. And with Bryce Harper already out, you then lose Rhys Hopkins. The city of Philadelphia, I mean, as a Philadelphia Eagles fan, you got to feel for Philadelphia. I mean, 3 lost championships in the span of, 90 days? Something like that.
Something stupid.
It's hard.
Yeah, well, maybe they'll make another big offseason move at the buzzer for a trade or something.
They might have to. Next, we got some big news coming out of the rival Yankees camp. What's going on there?
So other than 3/5 of their starting rotation being hurt, Anthony Volpe made the club. it's really fun to see a lot of these young guys make the club, man. Volpe's electric. He's going to be really good either at a middle infield spot or in a corner outfield spot.
Yeah, I mean he's a shortstop by trade, right?
Yep.
So probably, I mean, IKF is not he was not doing it for the Yankees last year. I don't see him doing it for the Yankees this year. I think Volpe's their starting shortstop now. We were talking about it before the show. I think it's exciting for Volpe. I mean, I think it's exciting for baseball. He's the 5th ranked overall prospect in all of baseball. And so anyone that high getting the call up is exciting for baseball. It sucks for us as Orioles fans because we're going to see him a lot.
As much as I hate the Yankees, once they get that middle infield of Peraza and Volpe going every day.
I was thinking about this. I'm pretty sure that would make Volpe, other than Aaron Judge, I think those are the only 2 guys on the Yankees squad that actually came up through the Yankees organization. I think everyone else have been free agents and trades and stuff like that. I don't think anyone else has come up through their organization.
The Yankee way.
Yeah, exactly.
The Yankees also are going to have a lot of question marks in their opening day rotation as Carlos Rodon is out with a forearm strain. Today it was just announced that Luis Severino had a back injury and he will not be ready for opening day, as well as one more starter. Who's our last starter that's injured?
Oh, I saw this somewhere. It was oh god.
Oh, shoulder surgery. Frankie Montas.
Montas. So they only have what? Nestor Cortez and Garrett Cole. Which, I mean, if you're gonna have 2 guys that are healthy, those are probably the 2 guys you want. But
think about that rotation of Cole, Rodon, Montas, Severino, and Nestor.
Cortez. Yeah.
That's a gross rotation.
It's disgusting. And I would say last year one of the Yankees' biggest strengths besides Aaron Judge, I mean, don't get me wrong, like hitting home runs was a big strength of theirs because of Aaron Judge. But their rotation was really good last year and they only added to it.
Yep.
And now all of a sudden you go from a solid, or not even solid, just a really good 5-man rotation to now you go, okay, well, we got 2 guys.
Okay.
What do we do now? I mean, they're the Yankees. They're going to figure something out. They always do.
Yeah.
But I guess that's the one thing we can take with us. If they're going to call up Volpe, at least their rotation is only 2 guys right now.
Yeah. Japan won the World Baseball Classic. Great game.
Great game. I was
really
sad.
Fun to watch.
I was so sad how that ended. I was really hoping the U.S. was going to make a comeback. I was hoping for extra innings, honestly. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
I didn't want that game to end. But could you write a better ending than Shohei Ohtani striking out Mike Trout?
I don't think he could, man. And I mean, like, just the whole game, it was tense. It was good baseball. I mean, that Schwarber's at bat against Darvish, dude, it was insane.
It was insane. I saw a stat that said something like that is only the 35th time in his career that Mike Trout has struck out swinging and missing at all 3 strikes.
Wow. That's crazy. So that's a very obscure stat.
Yeah.
Somebody really had to dig for that one.
Oh yeah, I mean, you know, there's stat nerds all over the MLB. Especially with big guys like Mike Trout, they probably just have that stuff waiting and going like, oh wow, he missed all 3 pitches he swung at. I wonder how many times he's done that.
Yeah. Building off that, former MLB Network analyst Chris Russo was on whatever talk show that Stephen A runs, talking about the Japan versus USA game, and absolutely drug Mike Trout for his performance during the World Baseball Classic and claimed that at-bat was not one of the best at-bats of all time.
Well, his whole thing was like, oh, Mike Trout strikes out all the time, so who cares? And I'm like, he really doesn't. I mean, you could make that argument for almost any MLB batter is like, oh wow, they strike out a lot. Because guess what? It's Major League Baseball. If you
Right.
are getting a hit 30% of the times you're at bat, you're really good.
Yeah. And I
So you
mean,
can't sit there and make the claim like, oh wow, well, he strikes out a lot. So does everyone.
Otani pumped 102 on the outside half of the plate. And then
After spending the first what, 8 innings as the DH?
right. I mean, he was pumped up. And then he struck him out on a 93-mile-an-hour power slider.
Just filthy.
Nobody's touching that.
No. It was an awful take. He did redeem himself a little bit in my eyes the day after because he gave the Orioles a nice long segment as one of the most exciting teams to watch this year. But I don't think that redeems him in all of baseball's eyes.
All right. Well, take it. Whatever. He should not have a job. He should not be employed. Anyways, Jordan Hicks hit 104 miles an hour in a spring training game. That's absolutely nutty. I think it was like 104.3. Again, just kind of building off of baseballs being hard to hit. Opening day matchups to watch. We got a lot of good ones. Ones that we're going to be watching on Thursday is going to be Kyle Gibson versus Corey Kluber. Ought to be a great one.
Are you at all nervous about Kyle Gibson after his last spring training start?
No. Whatever.
I'm not super worried about it. They said that apparently when he was one of the balls he was pitching, his finger slipped and he like cut off a chunk of skin off his finger with his nail or something, and so it was weird. I didn't realize you could do this in spring training, though. I guess it makes sense because it's spring training. Who cares? They had to take him out of the game, kind of patch up his finger a little bit, and then they were able to bring him back into the game.
Yeah. In spring training, it's unlimited substitutions. You can have pitchers go for an inning, come back, have another guy pitch, and then re-enter the same guy. Spring training is just like rec ball.
Yeah.
Other notable matchups to watch on Thursday are we got Stroman versus Corbin Burns. That's at 2:20. Got McClanahan versus Eduardo Rodriguez. Could be good if Rodriguez stays with the team this year. Jacob deGrom versus Aaron Nola. Rangers. Phillies
that's gonna be a good one.
That's gonna be a good one. Kind of an under the radar one of up and coming guys. We got Hunter Green versus Mitch Keller. Reds and Pirates. I'm gonna watch that one. I love watching Green pitch. We got Sandy Alcantara versus Max Scherzer at 4:10. That's gonna be a good one. Definitely not missing that one. I think just watching Shohei Ohtani pitch at all will be good, but they're playing the A's against Kyle Muller, who was just acquired in the Sean Murphy deal with the Braves. Could be good. We got Julio Urias against Zach Gallen on the West Coast side, and Luis Castillo against Shane Bieber. Big slate. Gonna be a fun day.
I don't remember if they did this last year or not, but I looked at the schedule and I liked they kind of tried to spread out the games as much as they could. It was kind of like a fully staggered start for the first day of baseball, which I think is a smart move by them.
Yeah, it's gonna be a great day. It's gonna be electric stuff. Bringing it back home to the Baltimore side of things, had a bunch of roster moves in the last week. Earlier today, DL Hall, Spencer Watkins, and Bruce Zimmerman were all optioned to the minor league camp.
Vespi, your guy.
Yeah, I know. Earlier in the week, Vespi was also optioned, along with Yennier Cano, who was a piece in the Jorge Lopez trade. We now have 41 players left on the O's spring training roster with 10 non-roster invites left. Going to be a busy last couple of days seeing what the Orioles are going to do with some of these guys who are very much on the bubble. There's some that you see, some of the names that you see who's left on the roster, and you know that they're not going to make the opening day big league club. I think some names that are still on the roster and are kind of on the bubble are Joey Crable, Mike Bauman, and then we have our slew of minor league acquisitions over the winter in Nomar Mazara, Ryan O'Hearn, Franchi Cordero. Something to note that Jordan Westberg is still with the big league club right now. He is not. A lot of these guys are not in the 40-man. However, injuries could kind of have us or give the Orioles some leniency. So we'll see. It's going to be busy, man. It's going to be busy.
Is Westberg, besides the obvious guys that we know are definitely making the big league club like Gunnar and Grayrod, is Westberg the highest prospect that's still on that list?
Yeah, Westberg's our last big named prospect who's still with the club right now. He's actually the youngest player who has not already been on the Orioles.
So he's what, 21?
He's 24.
24. Oh, he's okay.
He is 24.
I thought he was a lot younger, but he went to college, I guess, too, didn't he?
He did.
Okay, that's why.
So with that being said, I guess injuries too.
Yeah, we got to look at these injuries.
Givens he threw a simulated game to batters earlier in the week and threw about 12 pitches and then came off very angrily. Had a lot of discomfort still throwing. Doesn't sound like he's going to be ready for opening day. So could open up a spot for
also might have a court date coming up. So if you remember a couple weeks ago, we had a discussion about, it was unclear. There were rumors circulating around Twitter that Michael Givens was arrested in Florida. And we found an arrest record, and that was kind of it. Other than that, nobody was really talking about it. And after I tweeted out, I quote tweeted the news about Michael Givens on that hurt knee leaving kind of angrily. Someone, Big Mike, who's also known as Let's Go Ravens on Twitter, sent me a screenshot of a court date on March 29th at 8:30 a.m. for Michael Antonio Givens. That seems kind of damning to me.
Yeah, not good. Not something you want to say or see.
And I think I forget what he's charged with. I saw someone else say that it could, I don't think this is going to happen to him because, he's a rich Major League Baseball player, could be up to a year in jail.
Jesus. Well, that would not be good.
No. Regardless, probably not making the opening day roster right now with that hurt knee. TBD on his legal situation.
Yeah. Dylan Tate supposed to be back mid to late May. It's really, really exciting.
What happened to? I thought he was supposed to be back at the end of April.
In a report from Rock Kubakto earlier in the week, said mid to late May.
I'm just curious. They were saying late April, and then all of a sudden this week they said mid to late May.
He's got such a weird injury in that shoulder flexor, that it's, yeah. James McCann has not played in a game or worked out since last Monday. He hurt his oblique along with everyone else in the major leagues. I think you can go through any team and find somebody with an oblique injury. I was listening to the guys over at Just Baseball Media, and they said this was the year of the oblique. Sounds like everybody's.
Personally, I'm a year of the monkey guy myself, but year of the oblique sounds kind of interesting.
Yeah, so we'll have to see what happens with the backup catching role. Could Ben Boone get some play if McCann's hurt?
I mean, you need a backup catcher. As amazing as Adley is, I can't expect him to be behind the plate every single day.
Yeah.
Not for longevity's sake.
Jimmy, are you ready to get into it?
Oh, you forgot Ramon Urias.
I don't even know what's going on with him, man. Just thumb hurt.
Yeah, he got hit by a thumb in BP. He's been scratched from he's been scratched from his last two starts. There's a lot of rumors going around from people that have zero weight whatsoever in knowing what's going on in the Orioles front office. But a lot of rumors of people, every time they see him scratched from the lineup, they think he's getting traded.
No.
I don't think he's getting traded.
No. At least not at this point in the year.
And here's my thing. I like Ramon Arias a lot. I understand there's a lot of crowding. We're about to talk about this. There's a lot of crowding on this lineup of getting everyone in that you want to get in. I don't know that you trade a guy that just won a Gold Glove before the season even starts.
Well, stock's high, you know. I wouldn't hate trading him away, especially like if there's a good return on it. So
I think we'd have to get something pretty good for it. Because like you said, his stock is pretty high right now. I don't know what I would trade him for, but
a 5. An actual 5.
Yeah.
All right, so we can just fly around the field. We'll start at the backstop and we'll go around.
Let's tell people what we're doing.
That's probably a good idea. We're going to make a roster. So if Jimmy and I were Brandon Hyde on Thursday, what kind of 26-man roster we'd have. So we're doing a full 13 position players, 13 pitchers. Redoing our starting rotation and bullpen after the last week of transactions. So yeah, let's get into it. Behind the plate, some guy named Adley Rutschman, I think.
Yeah, my understanding is he's pretty good. So I have him as my C1.
Yeah, I do too.
Of course, you have to have a C2. I have McCann in there right now.
Yeah,
we'll see what goes on with that injury. Could be Ben Boone to start the season, just depending on what happens.
Yeah. First base, Mountcastle. He's having a really, really good spring. His on-base percentage is really, really high, and still has the ability to put one off the batter's eye, as we've seen in the spring.
I think he is benefiting a lot from that shift ban.
Yeah,
and he was projected to. The numbers favored him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, he had a good year last year. Obviously, a lot of home runs were taken away with that new wall. But in this spring, he's got 2 home runs already, 7 doubles, spread out through 18 hits. He's batting .419 with an OPS above 1100.
Oh, that's so good.
And that, like, the thing is that the swing and miss in his game, which was kind of like his nagging issue last year, he's totally cut down on it. Only struck out 6 times in 43 plate appearances.
That's scary. I'm telling you right now. If he's losing the whiffs in his game, oh, the league better be on notice, because that's scary.
Yeah. I think just one more thing to look out for as the season progresses with Mountcastle. He hasn't walked once in spring training. So I think that could probably be a bit of an issue as we get through a 162-game season. I don't have his chase rate numbers up from the spring. That's not really something that Fangraphs tracks during the spring, but it's definitely something that we're going to keep an eye on as the season progresses.
How many strikeouts does he have?
Just the 6.
Just 6. And then how many at-bats is that?
43.
That's not terrible.
Big singles guy right now.
Yeah.
Big singles guy right now.
But again, that's I think that's again the shift ban, because you don't think of Mountcastle as a singles guy.
Nope.
But now suddenly a lot of those balls are dropping.
Yeah. I'm just gonna do the starters first, and then we'll hit the bench. I know we already got McCann out the way. At second base, as unfortunate as it is, I do have Adam Frazier in there. At the very least, he's gonna play a lockdown second base.
It's tough. I have 2 guys down for second base. I have who I want to be the second base starter, and then I have who I think will be the second base starter.
Yeah, I think just because
Adam Frazier is in my heart. I'm unfortunately aware that it's probably going to be Adam Frazier.
Just the fact that, he came out and said that he was excited to play every day like means that the Orioles told him, "Hey, you're going to play every day." Which
He's
sucks.
also the third highest paid player on the roster right now, which is behind, by the way, number 2 is Chris Davis. Just think about that. Of all of the players, number 2 highest paid player is Chris Davis. Number 3 is Adam Frazier.
For all those not watching the live stream, or if you're listening on Spotify or anywhere else, I had the biggest sigh and just put my head down after hearing that. But yeah, I think Adam Frazier is going to be our opening day second baseman. If it were up to me, give Terrin Vavra some more play over there at second base. But
that's who I have. Honestly, if I were Mike Elias and Brandon Hyde, who I would want at second base more often would be Terrin Vavra.
Yeah.
But you can't sit there and put the guy that you have the third highest paid on your roster. Well, I guess Chris Davis technically isn't on the roster,
right.
But still, you can't have the third highest paid guy in your organization and not play him as often as possible.
Yeah, I just
as
think that
unfortunate as that is.
Like the same thing with like the Yankees, them giving Josh Donaldson at bats just because they're paying him a large sum of money is like it's obviously not the same as Adam Frazier, but just because we're paying Adam Frazier, just because we signed him to make a signing, doesn't mean that he needs to take away at bats from somebody who is having a really good spring. Do you think that Adam Frazier is batting above 200 in spring training?
No.
No.
I think he's batting 195.
He's that would be nice. He's batting 179.
Oh,
an OPS of 560.
What's Bobber at? It's got to be better than that. I see his name pop up on my app all the time.
Yeah. This spring, Terrin Vavra is batting 364 with an OPS 1 point under 1,000.
Moneyball. Why do we like him? Because he gets on base.
Yeah.
I don't know what this organization, and we said it last year too when Vavra came up and they kept not playing him. I don't know what this organization has against Terrin Vavra because every time he's in, he gets on base.
Yeah.
He just gets on base, whether it's the walks, whether it's doubles, he just gets on base.
There's got to be some sort of metric where Adam Frazier is more appealing than Terrin Vavra, and it's honestly probably on the defensive side of things. The Orioles are going to play a lockdown defense this year with everybody that we're about to name. The fact that just because Terrin Vavra is not as, versatile with the glove out there in second base, that's going to be the reason why Frazier starts. But, every team has a guy whose glove isn't plus, right? You see that. I mean, the Orioles have their starting lineup, but they're all at least average to above average with the glove. So we'll see.
We have a lot of defensive runs saved. We have a lot of defensive runs saved.
It's easy to say all these things before a real game has been played. So it could work out. What do we know?
Maybe Frazier's been taking it easy in spring training and he's going to light up on Thursday.
Yeah, let's hope so. Shortstop, I think we probably both have the same here in Jorge Mateo.
I know Jorge Mateo is a controversial guy because he doesn't his average is not great, but I think he's an electric player. I'm okay with him still being at shortstop this year. He's got a great defense. And I love the 1-2 punch when he's in the 9-hole and the guy who's at center field, who we'll get to in a bit, is number 1. When you get the two of them on base and he's running, it's not even a question. Every single time Jorge Mateo gets on base, it's like, well, he's going to steal. And especially this year with the pitch clock, the bigger bases, he's just going to be running all over the bases. And I am so excited to see it. I have a deep love of Jorge Mateo. I know he's not our shortstop of the future, probably, but anytime Jorge Mateo has success, I get really excited.
Yeah. Yeah. I hope that he can replicate last year's 14 defensive runs saved. His whole career, he's always been a negative guy or 1 defensive run saved. So you look at his prior stats from 2020 till now. he wasn't getting everyday reps necessarily, and he wasn't playing shortstop every day. In San Diego, he played outfield for the most part. He got 126 innings in the outfield in San Diego in 2021. And, last year he got 1,251 innings with the Orioles at shortstop. So I think, you keep him at shortstop. Very possible that he can replicate it.
He did play, what was it, Friday night? They put him in the outfield. It was either Friday or Saturday night. They put him in the outfield for like the last like couple innings of a game.
Yeah, I mean, if he got it in the bag, we can use it in a pinch, but I think that he's better off staying at the shortstop position. Mateo's batting 256, by the way, with an OPS of 685.
That's better than where he was at for the season last year. I mean, I'd like to see those numbers up more because it's spring training, but I mean, if he's batting 250 come regular season, that's pretty good.
That's great. That is great.
I'll take that. I'll take that any day of the week for Jorge Mateo, honestly.
That is great. 250 from Mateo, man, in the 9 hole.
Because he last year was something like 220 or something like that.
Yeah.
Because last year the big thing was if he can get into the 230s, he's a monster. If he's batting 250 in the regular season, let's go.
Yeah, exactly. Third base, the number 1 prospect in baseball, Gunnar Henderson.
How could you not?
I mean, how could you not?
Oh,
don't let the slow spring fool you, man. He's gonna be really good. I
think he's one of those guys too that he doesn't really turn it on until he's like in competition.
Yeah. I mean, he's very, very methodical in the way that he handles himself on the ball field. So I think that this slow spring isn't going to really deter him. I think you're going to get the same Gunnar Henderson all the time.
No, I think he's good to go. I think this is going to be an exciting year for him.
Walk rate's up. It's up a lot. He's walked 7 times in the spring. I think the high strikeout numbers right now, they're gonna kind of even out as we go through the season as he keeps getting more professional at bats. Struck out 10 times so far in the spring with a batting average of 212 and an OPS above 700. So, not horrible. I think he's held to a very high pedigree, being the number 1 prospect in baseball. So I think anything less than probably like a 280 batting average and an OPS of like 800 is going to be under average for him, just because he's the number 1 prospect.
Yeah, and I think it's possible that he has a slow start to the year. I think he's got I think it's hard for anyone to come in August, spend a month and a half in Major League Baseball where you're just getting used to it, and then all of a sudden, boom, season ends.
Yeah.
And then you have to pick it right up again, in the spring and be, try to make it seem like you haven't missed a beat. There's a big learning curve there. And so I think we might see a slow spring from him, but come end of May, beginning of June, I think we're going to see a really exciting product out of Gunnar Henderson.
Yeah. I mean, AL Rookie of the Year pick, I'm taking him at plus 400. It's a no-brainer.
Yeah, I put my $5 down on it. I'm not a high roller, but I am a roller.
Hey, you gotta roll a little bit.
I did pick Adley Rutschman for AL MVP
at plus 3,500. You have to.
Yeah. I was surprised they had him as that low of odds. Honestly,
Vegas doesn't understand.
They don't.
In left field, Austin Hayes for me.
I got Austin Hayes too. I do think Austin Hayes is in danger of ending the season on a different team.
Yep.
But I think for right now, he's a good left fielder. It all depends on how much he gets hurt. And if he has a first half like last year, great. If he plays like second half of last year, oh no.
Oh no is correct. Let's play a little game here. Higher or lower than 900 Austin Hayes spring OPS?
Higher or lower?
Higher or lower than 900?
Well, he's having a good spring. I'm going to say higher.
You'd be correct. He's got an OPS of 1160.
I mean that this is a hot take here. That's pretty good.
I would say so. And he's doing it really quietly too.
I think he has to. Honestly, I think he has to kind of be quiet. I think he at the beginning of last year, he was getting a lot of spotlight suddenly put on him a little bit because he was having such a good first half. And I think the pressure started to hit him a bit because he hadn't had long stretches of time where he was healthy before.
Mm-hmm.
So now suddenly it was like, oh, I don't have a lot of wiggle room. Like I don't have something to fall back on. If I start not playing well, it's like I'm healthy. And I wonder if that pressure got to him. I think he did get a little banged up in the second half too, which didn't help.
Yeah.
I mean, he had the cycle in the first half, and it was suddenly like, wow, like he's having a great season. We were all like really upset when he didn't make the All-Star game. And then in the second half, it was like, oh, well, maybe he wasn't an All-Star.
Well, given a first half like that, yeah. I mean, he was I would say that he was kind of destined for an All-Star. He kind of got snubbed a little bit. And I mean, he had a very average year for Austin Hayes. Last year he batted 250, OPS just above 700. I mean, you think if he keeps that first half trajectory going, he's probably one of the Orioles' best players.
And that's the thing is like if it's weird because in the first half he was so dominant. I mean, I was at the Cubs game when he hit a ball into the second deck of left field. Yeah. It was absurd. I've never seen a ball hit that far and that hard in Camden Yards, like in person. I've never seen that. Mm-hmm. It was wild. I was sitting there because like it was raining and I was sitting there. I was like, did that go to the second deck? Like it was absurd. But you feel like if he didn't put it all out in the first half, if it kind of got spread out and like he still ended with the same numbers, but it wasn't a tale of two halves, are you even having this conversation? Because I feel like that second half was like left such a bad taste in our mouth where it was like, well, he was awful in the second half. But if he had like, if he took the two halves and just mixed them together and it was like, okay, well, these were his numbers at the end of the year. Are we sitting there going like, oh, he's really got to improve this year? We're like, oh, well, he was average.
Yeah, I think you're kind of spot on with that one because it's Austin Hayes. Nobody knows who Austin Hayes is.
Unless you're in Baltimore.
Exactly. And he'll play an okay defense. 4 defensive runs saved last year. Got an absolute hose for an arm out there.
He can throw anyone out at home. Yeah. I don't care who you are. He can throw you out at home.
Yeah. So he'll be serviceable this year, I believe. And even so you said that Hayes is in danger of not being on the squad at the end of the year. I think that if Hayes has another really hot first half, man, trade him while it's hot. He will not be in the Orioles' future. There's just no way around it.
Not with Colton Cowser knocking on the door and then Heston Kjerstad knocking on the door behind him. Like those are your next 2 outfielders to come up from the organization. And those are not guys that you're going to want to sit. Exactly. I mean, those are 2 number 1 draft picks for the Orioles. They're Cowser can hit a ball 476 feet dead center. You're not gonna let him be blocked. So
imagine an outfield with Heston Kjerstad, Cedric Mullins, and Colton Cowser.
Oh my god, that's amazing. That's a dangerous outfield right there.
Yeah. Center fielder,
Cedric the Entertainer. Come on now.
Yeah. Not a big spring sample size due to him being at the Classic.
Didn't get to play a lot at the Classic, but the little that he did very well.
Except for the championship game.
Well, the championship game he flopped, but the game before that he had a home run after getting in the last like couple innings. The other game that he started, he had a triple first pitch that he saw. He hit a triple as well as I think he had another RBI in there as well. Yeah. He was a defensive replacement a lot. He's got great defense. I think The only drawback of him is his arm. You like your center fielder to have a little bit of a stronger throwing arm. I hope he's worked on it. I mean, he got criticized for it all last year, and when you're at this level, when you know what your one weakness is, usually when you go into the off season, that's going to be the thing you work on the most. So if he can improve his arm, I think he's one of the best all around outfielders in the major leagues. But again, like I said, I love when they started last year doing Mateo 9, Mullins 1, and if Mateo got on base, that just opened the door for Mullins because the pitcher was focused so much on Mateo, Mullins could more easily get on base, and when both of them were on base, you were just like double steal, do it.
Yep.
Like it was. I think that combo is just one of the most exciting in baseball. I mean, they were 1 and 2 in stolen bases in the American Leagues last year.
Yep.
I love it. I love it.
Got a weird feeling, Jimmy. I got a weird feeling that we're gonna see Cedric Mullins All-Star this year. Got a weird feeling, man.
You know what? I don't think that's a bad feeling. I think his starting capabilities in the All-Star game all come down to what Mike Trout does, and honestly, that usually means, does Mike Trout get hurt? Because let's face it, some of the starting stuff comes down to popularity too.
Yeah.
Even if Trout is having a horrible year, he's going to make the All-Star game. And not that I think Trout is going to have a horrible year, but but I could see Cedric Mullins make All-Star game. I think he's getting a lot of popularity and notoriety around the MLB.
Yeah, no doubt. All
right. Right field.
Right field. I've got Kyle Stowers out there, man.
That's who I've got. I got Kyle Stowers.
And then Santander at the DH.
And that's exactly what you want. I think Kyle Stowers, the young guy coming up, he's got a lot of pop to his bat, and then he's got better defense than Santander has. So let Santander do what Santander does best, which is hit home runs. Let Kyle Stowers have a decent bat and a better outfield.
If Stowers can cut down the strikeouts and keep putting the ball in play, he's going to be really good, man. He's batting .277 in spring so far with an OPS of 750. He struck out a ton. He's got a K rate around 30%. So, cut that down. We could see a really big breakout year for Stowers.
And the thing is, I think we're going to see him and Santander switch at right field a lot.
Yeah.
But I think if he can cut down on those strikeouts, like you said, I think he's another guy that the metrics are really good for when the shift is gone.
Yeah.
So we should see him on base more. I like him. I like him out there. I think that's a great starting lineup.
Yeah, I think that Stowers is probably the one guy that I'm kind of iffy about. I think the glove's going to play. The glove's going to play no matter what. I think that he just hasn't had a ton of major league at bats yet, so it could either be really good or it could be really bad. I don't think there's going to be much of an in between. Hasn't hit a home run yet in the spring across 52 plate appearances. So I think, let him get a shot. And if it's not working, it's not working. Send him back down to triple, get a few more, every day at bats. Let Santander play right. And you can platoon him with Vavra if you need to.
He didn't hit a lot of home runs last year, though, in the major leagues.
No.
And I think part of that, though, is he was another guy like Vavra we were getting a little frustrated with. They didn't want to play him a lot.
Right.
And I think it's a really hard thing to ask a guy to come up to the major leagues first thing and get played so inconsistently. And then when he does play, he strikes out a lot. And you go like, well, why are you striking out a lot? Well, you got to get used to it. I mean, it's a big learning curve to go from AAA to the MLB. And when you're not getting played a lot, when you're not getting played consistently, you're not going to improve.
Yeah.
So I think he's got a lot of improvement to do, but I think his ceiling is really, really high.
I agree.
And
Definitely.
playing him more consistently is going to do nothing but good things for him.
Yep. And then a bench of Ramon Urias, who you can plug in anywhere. He's going to play really good defensive wherever. And you can swing it a little bit. Terran Vavro, already touched on him. Brian McCann. James McCann.
Or Anthony Bemboon, depending on what the injury does. You need to have a backup catcher. You just need to have one.
Yep. And then my last bench spot, I think this is where we might differ. Off of 40-man restrictions and this guy's ability to play a really solid outfield and, hit a lefty if he needs to. I got Ryan McKenna there. As much as I would rather have a Colton Cowser there or a Jordan Westberg there.
So
I think that, go ahead.
No, you finish your thought on Ryan McKenna.
I just think that, the glove's going to come to the ballpark every day. Depends, there's going to be a couple of different Ryan McKennas that you could get at the plate. Showed some good flashes last year. I would rather have another young guy in there getting some more at bats. I think McKenna again is another guy. If he's having a good year, you could see him on another ball club by the end of it, or DFA, to be honest, to make room for one of these younger guys.
So yeah, we're gonna. This killed me because I really like Ryan McKenna. I like that he is sneaky fast. He's another guy like Mullins and Mateo. When he is on the base paths, you kind of go, all right, when's he gonna steal? Because he has that capability. This killed me. I did not have him make it. I had someone not on the 40-man get onto the team. I don't know who I would remove from the 40-man. Don't even ask me that, okay?
Probably McKenna.
And I put on the bench Franchy Cordero. And here's why.
Yeah, lay it on me.
The Orioles have shown that they are willing to bend over backwards right now to find a backup first baseman. They're trying Santander at first base. They're trying Vavra at first base. They're trying everyone at first base. And you know who's having a really good spring and is a natural first baseman? Franchy Cordero.
Cordero is having
Franchy
a
Cordero right
phenomenal
now
spring.
in 44 at-bats is batting .432 with 2 home runs, 9 RBIs, 1 stolen base. And you know what his OPS is? 1.149.
It's good.
And I looked at it. I looked up these stats of these guys. I was kind of between 4 guys, okay? You'll be proud of me. I really did my homework on this one because I didn't know who to get this last spot to. So I was also looking at Ryan O'Hearn, who is also a first baseman. He's having a pretty good spring.
Yeah.
38 at-bats, 368 average, 2 home runs, 5 RBIs, OPS of 1.021. All right? That's pretty good. But Franchy Cordero is doing better.
So this is what I'll say. The only reason that I picked McKenna was because we know what we're going to get with Ryan McKenna.
That's true. That's true. But Ryan McKenna, 45 at bats. So 1 more at bat than Franchy Cordero in spring.
Yep.
200 average.
Yep.
Literally half the average of Franchy Cordero. 0 home runs, 3 RBIs, 1 stolen base, and OPS of 543. Franchy Cordero is literally doing twice as good as McKenna is.
Yeah, I can't argue with the spring numbers, but I will point out that Franchy Cordero did not play even close to a half of a season until last year with the Red Sox, where he batted .219 with an OPS under 700.
I agree. It's hard. I don't think this is going to be an easy decision for anyone. I'm just wondering where and maybe I'm shooting myself in the foot with the reasoning too, because maybe by showing that they want Santander to play first base, maybe they're showing that they want Vavra to play first base. Maybe they are just showing like we're willing to keep McKenna and just try out other people as backup first basemen, and figure it out from there. I just think you have a lot of guys that can play outfield because Terran Vavra can also play outfield. Adam Frazier can also play outfield. You have, Hayes, Mullins, Stowers, Santander also plays outfield. You just have a lot of guys that can play outfield, and I think for depth of bench, I feel a lot safer if we have a backup first baseman, and we lost that last year when we traded away Trey Mancini.
Yeah. Yeah, I think all three of those guys are pretty interchangeable. I think that the only upside that McKenna brings from the other two is just plus outfield defense. I think Ryan O'Hearn and Franchy Cordero play a very similar game where it's, one of the 3 true outcome kind of guys, strike out, home run, or walk.
Yeah.
This one is actually like you scratch your head, you look at it, and it's like, okay, any of these 3 guys,
you almost have to throw a dart at the board and just say whoever it
lands close your eyes, throw a dart, whoever it lands on is fine.
Interestingly, neither of us picked Jordan Westburg to make the big league team.
I just don't think. I mean, I would love to see Jordan Westburg. I don't think that the Orioles are going to do it. This was my radar of knowing how the Orioles carry themselves, and I know better that Westburg isn't going to make the opening day roster.
I think that middle infield is just so crowded right now.
Yeah.
Because when you put Urias on the bench, I mean, I have him as like a backup third baseman, but he can also play second base, just like Vavra and Frazier. Mateo can play shortstop. Gunnar can play shortstop. Urias can also play shortstop in a pinch. You just have a really crowded middle infield right now.
Yeah.
And I just don't see them getting rid of any of those guys to make room for Westburg. And honestly, I don't know if Westburg makes it on the Orioles club
this year or like opening day.
I perhaps see him wearing another team's jersey. Yeah. We have so many good infield prospects. A big name's going to get traded at some point.
Yeah.
This is a gut feeling. This is just me looking at all of our prospects and Westburg, who can play third base and shortstop and second base. You know who else can do that? Gunnar Henderson. A year or 2 from now, you know who else can do that? Jackson Holiday.
Yeah.
You know who else can do that? Ramon Urias. You know who else can do it? Terran Vavra. You know who else can do it? Adam Frazier, as much as I hate to say that. I don't know where he fits into the puzzle. And I don't want to keep a really good prospect around just to keep him around, just because we like him. And this is where we talked about this the first week. People are going to have to start get a little thick-skinned about these prospects, because a lot of guys that we've been following their careers for the past several years, we got to understand not all of them can make the big league club. And part of the reason why you have so many good prospects is you trade them for other really good guys.
Yeah.
And just for me, the whole time, Jordan Westburg has been a guy that I don't see making the big league club, even though he's good. I just don't see where he fits into the puzzle.
Let's do this. Playing second base, would you rather have Jordan Westburg or Adam Frazier?
Well, Jordan Westburg.
If you had to pick another second baseman, Jordan Westburg or Terran Vavra?
I don't know, because Terran Vavra I've seen play at the major league level. I haven't seen Westburg do that.
I know that's the nature of the question.
I mean, I guess I'd pick Westburg.
I would also pick Westburg. Jordan Westburg.
But then what are you going to do? Like, what are you going to do with Vavra? You got to trade him.
Yeah.
A lot of people
Jordan
like
Westburg
Vavra.
or Ramon Urias?
Oh, well, Westburg. Westburg has a bigger ceiling. That's the thing, is Westburg has a bigger ceiling.
I would take an unproven Westburg, give him a shot. let him play, man. I mean, if we trade him and we get a haul for him, I'm content. That's fine. But if we're not and just gonna let him sit in triple until he's Rule 5 eligible, I'd rather have him getting at bats and reps at second base instead of Adam Frazier.
That's again is either trade one of these guys that we talked about has a big high stock right now, like Ramon Arias.
Yeah.
Jorge Mateo has a high stock right now. I don't know if his is gonna. I don't know if either of those two guys are gonna have a higher stock anytime soon. But I think you got to trade if you want him to get up here. Which I mean, I would like to see him up here. I think you have to make a trade because you don't want to DFA any of these guys.
We need to make a trade regardless of what happens with the opening day roster.
There's just too many guys that are either like spot holders or are quadruple A right now.
Yep. Let's run through the pitchers quick. Nothing much.
We kind of went through this last week, but not a ton has changed other than some injuries have forced some decisions.
Yeah. 1 through 5 on the rotation. Gibson and Kramer are going to be 1-2. That's set in stone. Then you can expect a mixture of Cole Irvin, Kyle Bradish, and Grayson Rodriguez.
Yeah, I have as my order. I have Cole Irvin 3, Grayson Rodriguez 4, Kyle Bradish 5.
I have Bradish and Grayson switched until Grayson throws a major league inning.
Fair enough.
Bullpen, Bautista, Perez as your 1-2 punch there in the late innings of the game. Orioles are going to keep Andrew Politi on the major league roster due to his Rule 5 status. Tyler Wells coming out of the pen, Brian Baker, Austin Voth. As much as I hate it, Keegan Aiken will be in the major league roster, I believe, and then a coin flip between Mike Baumann and Joey Krabel.
I picked Mike Baumann personally.
I genuinely could care less between the two.
Yeah.
I think that it's a coin flip no matter how you look at it. They both are right-handed guys who throw straight things down the middle.
I think we saw so much of Joey Krabel last year. I think we've seen exactly where he is.
Yeah.
We didn't see a ton of Mike Baumann last year, so I'd at least like to see him, give him a shot, and if he's 5% better than Joey Krabel, great.
Fine with me.
Let's go through your batting lineup. How would you line up for just your everyday lineup? How would you do
that? I think our win a playoff game lineup should be Mullins leading off, playing center, Adley behind the plate hitting second, Gunnar hitting third, Mountcastle cleaning up, Santander hitting fifth, Stowers hitting sixth, Hayes hitting seventh, Frazier hitting eighth, and Mateo as our second leadoff hitter. I think that kind of just spreads out the left-right switch. It goes left switch, left, right, switch, left, right, left, right.
That's a good way to look at it. I looked at it of kind of more, who do I want batting more often? Who do I where were they last year? Where did people find success last year? Sort of thing. So I have Mullins, Rutschman, Gunnar, and then I have Santander as cleanup. Mountcastle in 5. I have Austin Hayes as 6, Kyle Stowers as 7, Adam Frazier as 8, and then Jorge Mateo as 9.
Yeah, I think that Santander and Mountcastle are pretty interchangeable.
Yeah.
No matter how you put it.
It's a lot of power in the middle of the lineup, and that's what you want.
Yeah, and I think Hayes and Stowers, yeah, sure. Yeah, I'll give it to you.
Those are, I think those are interchangeable, honestly.
Yeah.
I think what you're looking at is probably smarter than what I was looking at, of trying to spread out that left-right back and forth. So
yeah, and I mean, I can say from experience that some guys are more comfortable hitting in a certain spot of the lineup. Like maybe Santander could hit 3 by the end of the year just because he rakes when he's in 3-hole and Gunnar's hitting 5th. Like, who really knows? That's something that happens behind the scenes that we don't really know.
Yeah. Now for fun, it's a Sunday day game. You need to rest a bunch of guys. What is your punt lineup?
Oh, jeez. Probably it's gonna be Mullins leading off. He's kind of our workhorse. And then I think you gotta go probably Gunner 2, Mountcastle 3, Stowers 4. No, Gunner will probably get rested, and then Urias will play. Dude, what do you have? I didn't write one down.
So this is for me. This is what I said was best case scenario punt lineup. Everyone else everyone's getting rested. Best case scenario punt lineup. I have Mullins because he's an everyday guy no matter what it seems, which I'm okay with. Mullins. I have Rutschman as the DH.
Oh, okay.
I have Gunner batting third, and he's the shortstop.
Okay.
I have Santander playing right field.
Okay.
Then Mountcastle. Then Hayes. Urias playing third base. And then either McCann or Ben Boom, whoever, depending on the injury right now, but them batting eighth. And then Adam Frazier at second base batting ninth.
God.
That's for me, that is the best they can do during a day game when they're resting a bunch of guys.
Boy.
I think that's better than the punt lineups we had last year.
Any lineup that Robinson Chirinos is in, man.
Yeah.
Stinky.
Yeah. All right. Well, we are 4 days away from opening day. Jack, do you have any bold predictions for the week to come in what will be meaningful baseball?
I think the O's really come to play Thursday at Fenway, man. I think we absolutely mopped the Red Sox on opening day.
What do we got? We have Thursday's opening day, then a game Saturday and Sunday, all in Fenway.
Yep.
It's just a 3-game series, right?
Yep. And then I think they go to New York. No, they don't. Where do they go after?
Somewhere else.
Then New York comes here.
New York comes here. That's the opening day here. I think next week we should do a opening day preview. Things to expect from just Camden Yards this year. If you bought an Orioles membership, what to expect this year. Things like that. Preview what the atmosphere is going to be. I'm just looking up real quick who the Orioles play after the Red Sox.
We'll recap the game. So we'll recap opening day.
Oh yeah. So
while you're doing
they
that,
go to Texas.
Oh, do they really?
Yeah,
That's
they
fun.
go to Texas after that. That'll be interesting.
While you're doing that, a couple betting hits. Diamondbacks over win total set at 74. Smash the over.
Oh yeah, hit the over on that.
Orioles obviously take the over. It's easy.
Oh, they have them at what, 74?
Yeah.
Yeah, I hit the over on that.
Yeah, I just wanted to get a few out there, you know.
Yeah.
If anybody wants to sprinkle a little bit here and there.
I've got for the 3 games this week, I'm gonna bet that the Orioles win 2 out of 3 against Boston. I think they crush them on opening day. I think Saturday, Boston might take that one. And then I think Sunday day game, it's gonna be a punt lineup either way for both teams. And I like the Orioles punt lineup versus the Red Sox punt lineup. All right. Well, we will see you all next week. Get excited because meaningful baseball is coming our way. And as always, go O's.
Hey, San Diego State to win the national championship. Mamma Mia has a good soundtrack. Thank you, everybody.
You've been listening to UPod Street, an Orioles podcast by fans for fans. UPod Street is an official Birdland Sports affiliate. Directly support the pod by purchasing UPod Street or other Orioles merchandise using the link birdlandsports.com/UPod Street. Get 10% off your order when you use the code UPod Street. Follow us on Twitter @UPod Street and @JackBain20. UPod Street is also on Facebook and YouTube, and you can listen to the show on all major podcast platforms, including Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, and Spotify. On whatever platform you listen, please subscribe, rate the pod, and leave a review. If you leave a review, we may even read it on the show. We'll see you next week, and of course, let's go O's.